Everyone, so good to see you. Welcome to KREM News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin with a developing story at Spokane International Airport. More than 100 people who worked as food and concession workers at the airport have now been told they are losing their jobs. The people work for the company HMS Host, which had a contract to operate the restaurants and shops at the airport. That contract expires at the end of the month. The Spokane Airport Board was set to approve a new operator last week, and as a result, layoff notices went out to 119 employees for HMS Host. KREM News has been reporting on the issue since last summer, and that's when workers asked the airport to include a retention plan as part of its operator changes. At this point, it is not clear what the new operator means for the current mix of food and shopping options that are available to everyone at the airport. So KREM News is working to get you more answers, and we'll certainly bring you those answers just as soon as we get them. Okay, 12:01 right now. So let's take a quick look at the weather, and hopefully you're enjoying the warmer temperatures. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick, he is outside on a somewhat gray day, at least right now. It keeps going back and forth.
Yeah, it's definitely a 50-50 split at the moment because some areas, like here at our South Hill studios, we have the sunshine. There's nothing but cirrus clouds above our head. But I take you to a live look downtown where this looks a lot more cloudy and gray. That's because the clouds are still settled down towards those lower elevations of Spokane County. So not everyone is out of the fog just yet. The airport is one of those examples at 41 degrees. But just to our south in Spangle, it's 54 degrees already because they have the sunshine. It's also 52 in Pullman. Look at this, 60 degrees in Pomeroy, 57 in Lewiston, 53 in Moscow. It's absolutely sunny here. It's basically sunny through southern Spokane County and right up to the South Hill. Hasn't quite gotten sunny yet for Spokane or Coeur d'Alene, where it's still 41 degrees. Once that fog does burn off, those temperatures are going to jump up quickly. Still have a chance to hit our record highs for today. That record stands at 53 degrees, which is close to where we had yesterday. But coming up, today is not the only day, still to go in the 50s. So we'll show you how many more days we're expecting this type of unseasonal January warmth. Look for those details in just a few minutes.
In just about an hour from now, the woman accused of killing 2 people in a hit and run in Airway Heights is expected to accept a plea deal. Investigators say Megan Skillingstad hit and killed a couple while driving drunk on West Trails in Flint last April. A plea and sentencing hearing is scheduled for 1:30 this afternoon. And this isn't the first time Skillingstad has been involved in a crime like this. She was found guilty for another deadly hit and run back in 2013. Well, if you are a voter in Spokane County, you may have received a ballot in your mail last week. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones has a look on what's on the ballot and when they are due back.
Yeah, well, the first thing you should know is that Tuesday, February 13th, that's the day of this special election. We're here at the Hive where you can drop off some of those ballots. And Spokane County Elections Office, they've told us that those ballots were sent out January 24th through the 26th. So you should have those in your mailbox by this evening, if not at some point this week. As for what's on those ballots, this is an election featuring predominantly school districts with a few other items depending on which district or region you live in throughout the county. For example, you may have seen flyers and posters discussing the upcoming Spokane Public Schools bond, and if approved by voters, a $200 million bond would replace 2 older schools in the district, that being Adams and Madison Elementary. A couple other projects are also on that bond. Medical Lake, Meade, Central Valley, Cheney, and several other school districts in the county have bonds and levies to be voted on during this special election. 2 quick notes: February 5th is the deadline to receive new registrations and voter updates online and by mail, and then day of registration and voting in person ends at 8 p.m. on the 13th. Of course, you can also go online to the Spokane County Elections Office and look at some of those sample ballots, but again, you should have your ballot in the mail by this evening, if not at some point this week. But for now, reporting in Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
And we are also tracking a busy meeting for the Spokane City Council tonight with votes on several issues. Among them is an ordinance that could lead to the removal or changes to some of Spokane monuments. The council is expected to pass that ordinance, which would create a review process to address any concerns about statues and monuments that are placed on city property. You may remember the council passed the same ordinance last year, but it was then vetoed by then Mayor Nadine Woodward. With a new council and a new mayor, the ordinance is expected to pass. The City Council is also expected to discuss a zoning change that would designate part of East 29th Avenue on the South Hill as a pedestrian street. If passed, future developers would need to follow additional rules to make sure their projects are pedestrian friendly. It would also ban new drive-through businesses that targeted pedestrian zone, including the intersection of 29th and Regal Street, which is where Chick-fil-A is looking to build a new restaurant and drive-through. The company submitted new plans earlier this month ahead of any zoning changes. Also, the council will discuss some looser restrictions on beer gardens at special events. If passed, the ordinance would allow minors into the beer garden areas so long as they were with an adult. It would also expand the number of beer gardens allowed at an event and extend the hours that those beer gardens can stay open.